Ain't nobody trying to be asleep. All right.
Sleep.
My sleep mode keeps getting put on because I have it on auto settings. Unbelievable.
Mine usually does that too, actually. Hey, is it storming out there?
No. No, it is not, sir.
I've got some side effects added on here.
I like it. I like the story. Yeah, look at my, you see my background?
I see
Getting
that.
abducted over here?
Your worst fear?
Getting abducted.
Let's get some music going here. How's the audio? Sound good?
Sounds good to me, man.
I mean, as far as my voice.
This is like some RPG stuff. I feel like I'm about to talk to an NPC. Hope I can get a quest from like probably outside of like I don't know, maybe a library or something.
How appropriate
in the game. Beth
Hello,
Burr.
Beth.
Oh,
welcome.
That made me think of Bill Burr. He's actually doing a comedy show here soon. I want to go see him, kind of. Anyway.
Yeah. Trying to get this thing back on track. Oh, here we go. But yeah, it's called Mystical Forest Harp, and it's on Adobe stock.
Well,
I'm so laggy today. Weird. Anyways, as the title states, we're going to be talking about UFOs, UAPs, the final frontier, a discovery, and if we're ready or not.
It seems heavily appropriate given the Las Vegas incident now. We're adding to the list of mainstream UFO coverage right now. It's pretty crazy to me.
Yeah, very.
I guess it's crazy to me only because like I've been into the subject for so long, and being called a crazy person, get your tinfoil hat out, conspiracy theorist, the list goes on and on and on of what people have called you. That's why you can't even really talk about this stuff in public, or at least you used to not be able to.
Right.
Because people look at you like you're insane. And now they're just reporting it on the news. They're just talking about UFOs on the news. It's mind-blowing.
And it's happening more often now, too. I mean, first we had the Vegas thing that kicked us off. Then we had there's another one I saw on Facebook recently that actually showed what I saw as a kid that they caught on camera. There's actually been pictures and extra footage being revealed for the Vegas thing. Then we had that whistleblower recently, so it's all coming out.
Right. There's part of me that wants to believe the footage of the actual picture. However, there's also parts of me that know that could probably also be doctored.
Very easily.
However, the footage of all the different eyewitness accounts of people seeing the UFO, that's a different story.
Yeah.
Because I've definitely read in two different versions now that there is, they didn't see anything in the backyard, and the other version was that they did see something in their backyard and took a picture. It's interesting.
Yeah, there's mixed varieties of what went on. And I'm wondering if the picture that I actually saw was maybe from somebody else in the area that just happened to catch it, or if it was the same people or not.
I have a buddy who's pretty like-minded with me at work about this kind of stuff, and he's saying that he believes that the reason why they're doing this now is they're trying to kind of freak people out, and then he believes that they're going to use this as some type of hey, we need to band together to defeat this alien threat so we can funnel all this money towards something that we have already known about, and it's not a threat, and it's really just our craft that we've reverse engineered, which is what the dude from the whistleblower was basically trying to say, is that we have recovered craft. That's just creepy, man. It's just wrong.
Well, you're looking at it. I mean, it looks so close to your stereotypical rendered CGI alien. So, I mean,
it does. It looks like all the depictions of the Greys, the Wangina from Australia, as they call them. If I'm mispronouncing that, my bad. But
I know what you mean. No, it's definitely crazy. I have other ones too that look exactly the same. Like that green screen one I used, it looks just like those. So you can find it here. Compare it real quick here. I have too many files. I'll be stocking up for my videos.
And that's a
Anyways,
crazy subject. That's like been something I've been liking to engage with people now because I'm like, since they posted it on the news, I like to ask people, hey, what do you think about this? And a lot of people are in disbelief. A lot of people are like, oh, yeah, because the government has built such a terrible reputation now, like nobody believes, and the media especially, nobody believes anything they see anymore.
right.
A lot of people believe it's just like scare tactics to try to, a false alien invasion, if you will. That would be a route, and honestly, that I think that they would go. But
It looks very close to these guys here, right?
right.
Getting
I
triggered
think that
over
there's different a little bit. I think that there's different types of these types of beings too. Some of them, according to different sources, are like mechanical. They're actually like robots, and some of them are actual beings.
Well, they're bioengineered.
Right. The bioengineered ones are considered to be the Watchers in the Bible. For those that don't know, the Watchers are considered to be extraterrestrial, and there's many, many different sources to back that up. Especially in the Sumerian tablets. I have a nephew named Billy Burr. I wonder if they got the idea from that. No, but not named after the comedian, though. Maybe.
I'm not even familiar with that person. And I agree. This time we got the truth.
It is. It's about time that they're not denying this stuff, because there was something that, as I've researched UFO stuff in the past, an important note is that, they're reporting this on the news, but this is not the only eyewitness account. This is not the only whistleblower. There has been a laundry list of whistleblowers that have come out and said this. And an important note is that an eyewitness testimony in the courts is enough to get somebody put to death. But thousands of eyewitness testimonies are to not be believed, because of this subject. Think about that. So we're supposed to deny all the evidence and the people saying they've seen this and only believe it when the government tells us to believe it. That's the minds of most of the public, is that they do not accept until the government tells them it's okay to accept it.
Yeah.
Because they've been so successful at labeling this as, you're going to be crazy. You're going to be, oh my God, we can't talk to that guy.
What's that? The whole thing a few years back when they were going to basically get 1 million people to rush Area 51 when they couldn't stop everybody and nobody showed up.
Oh yeah. I knew that nobody was going to show up. I mean, dude,
imagine though.
They have the permit. They can stop everybody. They'll just shoot them. I mean, ultimately, yes, that would create a public backlash, but they would justify themselves as oh, these are terrorists. That's exactly what they would say. They'd be like, oh yeah, all the terrorists were taken out
for national security purposes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know it. It would be like, oh, they all of a sudden had guns and they're coming right at us, like in South Park.
They put CGI guns on their hands or some crap.
They really, honest to God, would. And it does not take much, dude. Dang well with what you can do with video editing. You think that, they're going to believe the few people on the ground? They're going to be like, oh no, those people are lying. This is what really happened. Show us the videos of all the crazy insurgents,
Yeah. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Do you know you went away? Died there, sir? Oh.
I just had to do something real quick, so I wanted to take myself out so I wouldn't be weird on camera.
Yeah, so let's see what I got here. So I have heard some folks say, since the time that I started researching this, I've had some people speculate. So is the UFO phenomenon and spirituality linked? Are these two things that are possibly linked? And I wanted to know, first, what your thoughts are. I'm pretty sure I know what your thoughts are on this, but if anybody watching this, do you think that spirituality and the UFO phenomenon we've experienced for millennia is actually linked?
I'm going to use one word. It's perception. One person's perception could be different from somebody else's. You have some advanced being come down from the sky. Back in the olden days, oh, that's a god. In today's world, somebody coming down from the sky, oh, it's an alien. It's perception. Point of view.
This is true. Just if you went back in time with the cell phone, people would think that you were some type of a god. I like that idea.
I mean,
I definitely
bring up the camera up on your cell phone and point it at them, but now I'm gonna take your soul with my camera phone.
Oh yeah. Step back! I'm taking your soul, taking it away.
I mean, imagine go back to the caveman days, simply doing this, and how their mind become blown.
Mm-hmm.
Create fire from nothing, basically.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, that I have created fire.
Not rubbing two sticks together.
Hey man, that stuff is difficult. I got respect for anybody who can do that, man. But to answer that, so I think this is an incredibly complex question. Yes, perception, 100%, definitely perception. Like as far as perceiving somebody as gods, I think that a lot of the gods of our history were advanced beings masquerading as gods to rule over mankind. Personally, without a doubt. I think that there's tons of evidence to support that if you read through all the different historical records. Especially, again, the Sumerian tablets is my favorite thing to talk about. But
it's very interesting.
But I also think that we're dealing with a complex subject, so it can't all be wrapped around a simplistic thing like we want. You know what I mean? It's not easy. I think that we're dealing with not only we have visitors from certain parts of the solar system, we probably have visitors from all around the universe or different all sorts of different solar systems, and they probably all look different.
What if it's interdimensional? Even
exactly
these realities,
and that that brings us to the next level of complication is that we're dealing with not only from our dimension, we're dealing with visitors from dimensions higher than ours, and like the idea like the fourth dimension, like heaven, if you will, as we would perceive it, quote unquote. Mm-hmm. And they've come back to help us realize what we truly are. We are spiritual beings. So I think again that it's definitely linked, and it's just the law of one explains a lot of that stuff. And again, that's another thing I'm obsessed with.
Different galaxies, definitely.
Right.
I mean, just the Milky Way galaxy. We've already seen Hubble pictures, the Hubble telescope, of so many galaxies. They look like stars, basically. And every one of those has trillions of stars.
Mm-hmm.
How many planets per star? I mean,
dude, yeah, it's wild. I mean, if space is as vast as I say, if what we're seeing out there is real and not some type of a projection, like again, got to keep an open mind here. Got to keep an open mind. Don't want to negate anything, but if it is real, there's definitely life out there. If it's not, whatever, then we're just living in some kind of a fantasy land here. But I was actually looking at the data from the Voyager and Voyager 2 space probes, and I was definitely doing some questions. I was like, how do they travel through space? Apparently they're being slingshotted by gravity through space somehow, and they're traveling at like 58,000 miles per second or something like that, or per minute or per hour.
I was going to say, probably per hour. That'd be
because like it said the thing said that there were billions of miles away, and I'm like, how is that even possible? How could they be billions of miles away in our lifetime? And then they would have to be traveling at a crazy.
That's light years. That's light years away.
It's interesting, man. It's
keep in mind,
and how are we still getting signals from it's billions of light years away?
We can't. I mean, the speed of light is relatively slow universally. From here to the sun, it takes 8 minutes for light to reach us, and that's just from here to the sun. Imagine how far the sun away is away from us.
And somebody was telling me that
beyond our galaxy,
right? It's freaking insane to think about. Somebody is telling me that these are communicating through radio waves. So like perhaps is it though in space though? Like it has to be. I mean, how are we able to receive data from this if it's that far away? Unless we don't, there's something about radio that we don't know.
I mean, it's the thing, because the further radio waves go, the less potent they are. And if it's coming from that far away, this would be nothing even there to be detectable to pick up on anything.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to grasp for my brain on how they're receiving this data from how far away. You know what I mean?
It's not that far away. They want you to think it is.
Yeah. This stuff was built in what, the 70s, man? 60s?
60s, I think. Yeah. One of those, 60s, 70s, but still, that's 40 years ago. It was traveling that fast. I mentioned how far it's got to be.
There's got to be something about that technology that we don't understand, or at least at this level. That's something I'm definitely going to research over the next little bit, because now I need to understand it for myself. You know what I mean?
Wouldn't radio waves travel roughly the speed of sound, though?
No idea. I think this is the question for the chat GPT.
Let's go to Google here. How fast does radio waves travel? actually, wow, okay. Well, it's meters. I don't know how fast meters is. I'm American. So
They travel at the speed of light.
in a
Really?
vacuum, yes. Interesting. I guess it is a wave. Light speed or light is considered a
Hmm.
wave. Radio waves are waves. So I guess that makes
So
sense.
they
But
traveled at the speed of light in a vacuum. Wow. Interesting.
that is interesting. I did not know that.
And I
So,
guess if it
no.
is consistently connecting to Earth, it would actually always be connected because the waves are consistently going out. So it literally always, I guess that I can see that. I can see that. All right. All right. You learned
It makes you
something.
wonder
This is what
we
this is all.
had when there was that moon landing and they were broadcasting live for the moon. There was always that delay because radio waves. The speed of light can go to the moon and back in like 10 seconds. So it wouldn't be much.
How
of a
the hell
delay.
are they doing? I mean, bro, like, that's. I mean, is it done by radio waves? Because it was
How
video.
else?
How do they beam the video? I don't know. I don't know about that one. I don't know about that one. I'm gonna get killed in the comments over that. But
It was like broadcasting TV signal back in the day. It was video and audio, but
interesting thoughts here. Interesting thoughts.
analog. It is very interesting. We're down to 0 viewers. Where's everybody at?
There was somebody here a little bit ago.
There was 2 up there, but now it's on 0. But it's a Tuesday night. Who knows? They can watch it later if they need to. But we're still gonna keep on. Keep on.
Yep. Freaking. So I was gonna say, yeah, the truth is about these subjects is that the evidence, the reason why they've not been able to produce evidence, quote unquote, is because this stuff is carefully hidden, man. We're like dealing with classified programs. We're dealing with, stuff that they don't want people to know because they always say national security this, national security that. And like, what does that even mean? Like, what do you mean national security? And the fact is, like, that could only mean that they want to use this as weaponry or are afraid to have it used against us. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But that's supposedly the big reason for the secrecy. They don't want to put fear in everybody. I think it really is. If we know there's life out there beyond us, it's going to change everything. It's going to change religion. It's going to change how we see and perceive reality itself. It's going to change the entire paradigm.
Right. Where the idea for the secret space program came from, like where this like originated? We've heard about it. We've heard that the United States has like a secret space program.
Reagan.
Like, yeah, Reagan was talking about it too, but like one of the people that exposed it was actually a hacker.
Oh, right. On Discord.
Yeah, Gary McKinnon is a British computer hacker who gained significant attention in the early 2000s for his claims of infiltrating classified U.S. government computer systems in search of evidence for UFOs and a secret space program. McKinnon, who used the online pseudonym Solo, asserted he hacked into the computers belonging to NASA, the U.S. Army, the U.S. Navy, and government agencies between 2001 and 2002.
Is this guy still alive?
Who knows? He says that he claimed that his motivation was to uncover suppressed information regarding free energy technology. Well, that's an important note here. Free energy technology, extraterrestrial life, and the existence of a secret space program. He believed that the U.S. government was hiding evidence of advanced technologies and non-terrestrial officers. What does that mean?
Well,
non-terrestrial officers.
If these alien beings are traveling from the other side of the universe, they'd have to have some sort of free unlimited energy.
Yep. And like again, I mean, most people have no idea. Like Nikola Tesla freely was talking about that stuff. He was literally doing experiments with free energy, and they shut his stuff down, and then he mysteriously died. You know what I mean? Because they don't want the public to have that.
You can find ways to build your own Tesla coil.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, take a magnet, put some wire around it, and other kind of stuff, and it just generates power.
Yeah, and then you make YouTube videos and get offed, and get killed.
This guy was depressed. He killed himself,
Yeah, he didn't kill himself. Yeah, that's wild. Everybody who invents anything crazy like that ends up killing themselves. Like,
conveniently, and people buy it.
So, what do you think this guy means when he's talking about non-terrestrial officers? Like, what do you think he means by that?
Well, if you're a big person that follows into the UFOlogy and stuff like that, they have what's called the Federal or the Galactic Federation.
Mm-hmm.
They're basically the council that oversees different galaxies and of space, of the planets. And supposedly, officer could be somebody that's of a certain rank in this particular council or federation, if you want to call it.
Yeah, that definitely could be that too. Like it's like a lot of people that say in the secret space program, it's just like that we have, yeah, we're developing advanced technologies, but the other side of that is that we are already a spacefaring race, according to a lot of insiders and whistleblower testimony, is that we literally already have bases out in space, and this is where it gets like incredibly hard to believe, but if we have UFO technology and if even one of these stories is real, that means it's probably true. You know, if we can't track all this money that we've been, secretly missing over the years, where do you think it's going? Is it going to just developing bombs, or do we really have, bases on other planets?
Well, it's already been proven that they have found bases on the moon, and they're photoshopped out of the pictures. When NASA discovers them, they release the edited versions of them. But there are some people who have leaked the unedited versions, and you can see buildings and domes and all kind of stuff up there on the moon.
So yeah, dude, I've definitely heard that. Like, and I've also heard about there's ruins on Mars. There's, which again is interesting because they talk about that in the Sumerian tablets. They talk about how the Anunnaki had bases on Mars. They had a base on the moon, and then they also said that they were reusing a base that somebody had already built, like in our solar system a long time ago.
I mean, what better place to monitor the Earth without coming to the Earth than a moon?
It sounds, again, this stuff sounds crazy, but I choose personally to believe in the possibility of this, especially if any of this stuff is to believe. It's absolutely possible. If we have, if the Germans were working on this technology in the 40s, imagine what we have now.
Well, supposedly they lost the technology, but technology's advanced dramatically since then. So how can we lose technology? Well, here's the thing. They say we lost that technology, but they didn't say we don't have current technology.
Right. And another way I always use to back up the idea that we have there's evidence of advanced technology in the past is the ancient ruins around the world. Like some of these, there's no other explanation for how they were built except for the use of advanced technology, advanced laser cutting devices, whatever you want to call it. But these monuments were not built by hand, and it's time to stop lying to the public because they know the truth. And, the truth is also written in a lot of these ancient records. A lot of the Sumerian tablets, a lot of ancient cultures have literal, like, why don't we believe their history? You know what I mean? We look at their history like it's nonsense. It's ramblings of, primitive people, when in reality, they have the answers written right in front of us. That there was advanced beings from other planets coming to try to help them, trying to elevate civilization.
They've already proven it. You can find these old, like ruins you're saying, the giant stones that are so perfectly connected. There's no way they could do that with stone chiseling hammers.
Right.
Stuff.
Absolutely no way.
Flat and perfectly aligned.
Like the Temple of Jupiter, man. The blocks at the Temple of Jupiter they're so big. They dwarf the pyramid blocks by a lot. And there is nothing that we have today that can lift these, and it just doesn't make any sense. The Romans didn't build them. They admit that they didn't build them. They built on top of them. I don't know.
They would say they were built by slaves. They were
absolutely not. No way. No. So the idea that the U.S. has a secret space program, absolutely, without a doubt. What do you think?
There's no doubt. I mean, even they're kind of hinting at it now. When Trump created the new, what do you call it?
The Space Force.
Space Force.
Yeah, I think that he did that for a reason. I think that he did that to try to eventually disclose to the public. I mean, look what he said about, like, if you knew what I knew about UFOs and stuff, like, what the hell did he mean by that? You know what I mean? Like,
now suddenly he's being indicted and tried and indicted. Arrested.
Yeah, it's over just the most ignorant things too, and it's like it's so obvious to the masses, or at least people that are free thinking, that like they're literally just trying to get this guy so he can't run again. Like ultimately, even though like again, never been a fan, but when the media is out to get somebody so bad, it makes me trust that person more. So
you can see it's a personal attack. It has nothing to do with politics and stuff.
mm-hmm.
Well, I guess it kind of does, but still, it's a personal attack against somebody.
Yeah, and believe me, again, I'm not a Republican, definitely not a Democrat, not either one. I refuse to take sides in that because I think it's stupid.
Agreed.
So is the idea of the secret space program mentioned anywhere else? So like, is there any other whistleblowers over time that have come out and said it? And I don't know if you've ever heard of Corey Good.
Doesn't ring a bell.
He's closely aligned with David Wilcock. They used to do a lot of videos together. He's a self-proclaimed whistleblower and a figure within the alternative research community who's gained attention for his claims about secret space programs, extraterrestrial encounters, and government cover-ups. However, it's an important note that many of Good's assertions are highly controversial and have been met with skepticism from various quarters. Just like anybody who comes out with this kind of information, usually there's a bunch of like a misinformation campaign against these people all the time. It happens to David Wilcock. It happened to this guy. It happened to, who's the other guy? William Tompkins is another whistleblower. I'm sure it'll come out against, this new guy that's come out, even though he's been first time on the mainstream news. So I don't know, maybe that won't, but
who knows?
But
like a lot of stuff,
this stuff is wild, man.
Like a lot of the stuff's actually hidden in plain sight through movies and television. I mean, look at Star Trek, Star Wars. These all take place off planet in space. It's got to be based on some truth.
Well, I like to look at the idea of Star Wars like it may be an actual story, man. This may be something that actually happened, and it sounds crazy, and people laugh at that idea, but like, what if it is? What if it is a retelling of something? Because I say, in a galaxy far, far away. What if this really happened? Like, that is not, to me, that's not that far fetched. To the the regular thinking mind who's stuck in his day to day, not thinking outside the box because he's forced to do the same task for 50 years until he dies. That might be a crazy thought because all he knows is the place in front of him. All is the work and the family and the nothing outside this bubble that you live in. But again, for those of us who have been alienated from society and like think outside the box, this is something it's easy for me to see. But
that's the thing. We're coming into a time now that it's becoming much more open to everybody than it used to be. Like the paranormal in general is being accepted by so many more people now. Right. People are getting more comfortable talking about it instead of keeping it secret. And it's a great time to be putting this stuff out here.
Yeah, and like a note about this, the reason why people have been so defensive for so long, it's the same view as like, religion, that kind of stuff. So anything that affects somebody's worldview, the way you perceive the world, your worldview, like anything that threatens that worldview, you're going to lash out against it. That's why this type of worldview threatens the people who are religious. Like I've had debates with my mom about it, and it's threatening to her because she can't accept that this is happening because of what they, believe in the Bible. However, again, like I always tell my mom, the Bible never says that God only created mankind. Never says that. This is mankind's creation story. You think that an infinite creator, all-powerful God only made us in this little planet? No. What if he created this all over the place, which is way more likely than the idea that he just did this one thing and he's looking over us and going to burn us with a magnifying glass. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, there's kind of a clue. He says the heavens, plural, with the earth. And where do we say aliens come from? The sky. And back then that was interpreted as heaven.
Right. Exactly. That is like, I think if you changed all of the passages from the Bible, heaven to space, you start to get a whole different picture, man. Whole different picture. Like, and perhaps our understanding of space is actually flawed too. Maybe it is more like liquid. Maybe that's more like water. You know what I mean?
Like that makes more sense. Yeah. That they call it the Sea of Stars. All these ocean-like references. I just can't comprehend the fact that space is literally a vacuum. That makes no sense. I mean, how did sound waves come from the sun to here that we can listen to different sounds from different planets? If the space is a vacuum, that sound's not going anywhere.
Right.
There has to be some sort of medium for these waves to travel through. And if it is an ocean or whatever, that makes more sense.
Right. Definitely stuff to ponder, man. Definitely stuff to ponder here.
Mm-hmm. Not saying that's the case. Until I can get up there for myself, I'll never know.
Right.
We gotta take somebody else's word on it.
Sir. So, like, the idea, the whole thing about Corey Good, his story is one that even I have a hard time believing, but, like, the more I watch his videos, the more I believe him. He, like, seems sincere. He's got, like, all sorts of different people to corroborate a story that have come out, high-level government insiders, and his stuff keeps getting proven over and over again. Just like, when I watched the David Wilcock documentary, the Above Majestic or whatever, like, that stuff in there it's just mind-blowing to me. Like, when I watch it, I'm like, everything we believe in is a lie. Like, when I watch that kind of stuff, that's why I've tried to avoid it. It's because, like, it's hard for me to function in regular society because I believe that we are literally ants in a freaking cage being taken advantage of by people who are using us for money. That's it. That's what we are, cogs in a machine. And
Earth has been called or referenced as a prison planet for a reason. We can't leave it. There's no way of getting off of it. And we have to be limited to the rules that are set for us to follow.
And I think that we have been prisoners, or if you will, a slave race to an advanced creator God with lowercase g since the beginning of our time. That's honestly what I believe, man. And I think that they tried at one point to back away and leave mankind, but there's obviously still examples of control, and either that or the seeds of that, because, humans still control humans regardless. Like, our governments are controlling us. Like, they're blatantly lying to us, and yet there's nothing we can do. You notice that? Like, blatantly being exposed in lies, becoming millionaires in office, yet there's nothing we can do about it, seems like. And why is that? Think of the divide. Choo!
There has to be a reason for that old saying, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. You rarely see a poor person make it to the highest society level, and it's rare you see somebody on that level come down to become poor.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm barely middle class, and I still struggle financially.
Right. I mean, in the capitalistic society, like, I guess wealth comes down to a mindset. So you do have the possibility of wealth, but for the average person who is born into families who, work until retirement, basically the slave working class, it's almost impossible to break out of that. You have to take huge risks. You have to go against everything that you've learned your whole life in order to do it. And that's most of the time doesn't happen because public school teaches you to be a cog in the machine. It takes away all your individuality and makes it sit down, do what you're told. Like, think about it. And the rich people, exactly when they pay to send their kids to private schools and stuff like that, they don't teach that way. They teach courses depending on how each student learns.
How to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
Not how to just accept reality for what it is and become a working man.
Mm-hmm. That's one of the things I've learned from the books.
Yeah. It's crazy.
My neighbor's really out here riding his moped again.
Okay, was that a UFO?
No, definitely a moped. I thought it was a chainsaw, but he's got like no exhaust on his moped, dude.
Damn. Hopefully no chainsaw to come out and do you hardcore if it is.
Man, nobody gonna catch me with no chainsaw, buddy. Like, that is not something I was ever afraid of. Whenever I watch those movies, there's no way that dude is ever gonna catch me. Unless I tripped and fell like everybody in every movie, but
I mean, that would be me. I would fall.
I guess that dude could probably run forever, and I'd eventually get tired out because I am kind of lazy. But
I would die of exhaustion before he gets me.
God damn it! Oh my god! So back on Corey Good. If you guys are ready to hear this, if you're watching,
Yes.
so according to Corey Good, he served approximately 20 years in secret space programs and was involved in in covert operations, off-world missions, and interactions with different extraterrestrial civilizations. He has stated that he was part of a program called the Secret Space Program, where he allegedly worked alongside with personnel and encountered advanced technology, interstellar travel, and beings from other planets. He has described his experiences in detail, discussing encounters with beings known as the Blue Avians and the Spear Beings, who claimed they are highly evolved entities with a vested interest in Earth's future. He has also spoken about the existence of underground bases, secret alliances, and the suppression of advanced technologies by secretive government agencies. The common argument is that there's a lack of empirical evidence, but again, a lot of different whistleblowers have come out and corroborated this guy's stories. And it's interesting, that he talks about the Blue Avians or whatever.
I've heard of them.
They actually claim that this is actually the beings Ra, but some people are saying that it's actually Ra incarnate. But
I mean, maybe he was from there and he was just interpreted as a guy when he came from that civilization. Mm-hmm. I think the Syrians actually have an avian species of extraterrestrial too.
Well, I mean, dude, if you came from a dimension higher than this, like for example, Jesus is said to have come from the next dimension, the fourth dimension of love. That's why he said, he's literally a being of love. Like if you came here and you had those abilities, or you learned those abilities here, you would be perceived as a god because you would have special powers that don't make any sense. You know what I mean?
Right. Healing.
Like if you're able to levitate and heal people, like people are going to think you're a god.
Mm-hmm.
Or, if you possess technology that can do that, because, that's quite possible too.
Yes, it makes you wonder, was his abilities more technologically based, or was it magic?
It's hard to say. Like, are you talking about Ra?
Or any of these ascended masters from back in the day?
I think that the idea, so it could be both. So I think that there is abilities that you could possess once, like you have in dreams, where you're able to levitate objects and, create things with your mind or move things with your mind. But I think that you could also, it'd be crazy to think that you can develop advanced technology in these dimensions as well. You know what I mean?
Right. Because when I do those things in my dreams, which I consider the astral plane, it's me doing it. I'm not using any technology that I'm aware of in a way. But who knows?
Right. I don't know, man. Him and David Wilcock do that Above Majestic documentary, and I think you've watched part of it, but if you ever get a chance, man, watch that whole thing. And again, if the stuff that they're saying is real in this thing, again, it's hard for me to accept because again, we have to look at everything that we've ever learned as being misinformation. And I'm starting to believe it because they're saying that, especially in the medical field, what we are taught is not the truth about how to heal our bodies properly. If you look at any of the holistic healings and stuff like that, the understanding that the pharmaceutical companies have given us of our bodies and how we heal and the medicine we're supposed to take is wrong. Mm-hmm. And it's obvious that they are literally selling cures to us and treating symptoms. They're not out to cure us. They're not out to help us. They're out to sell us a product. Essentially we are the product. But
what I've always said, that the body has everything it needs to heal itself.
Yeah, they're saying that, one of the things they allege is that we are being told incorrect things about how to keep ourselves healthy, our foods that we eat. And all of this is linked to this UFO secret space program stuff, 100%. Like it's apparently put in by a group of negative entities that wants to control the fate of mankind and has been actively, they suggest, trying to be the opposite side is trying to help us, right? Mm-hmm. That's why we have contacts from advanced beings trying to give us stuff like the Law of One series, or, different people like being contacted by gods, quote unquote, or God itself, who knows?
Us.
Mm-hmm.
Using these videos, it might not get out too much right now, but eventually.
No, this is what is known as channeling. Ultimately, if we are learning stuff and trying to channel this information to the public, this is what channeling is. Like, is taking a message that you know and feel is correct and trying to help people like think outside the box. That's all it really is, man. I don't care if anybody believes what I'm telling you. Like, what I want somebody to do is go out and research some of these topics for themselves, and that's what it is. Like, that's the point of everything.
Yeah.
Like, again, it doesn't matter to me who the hell believes what I'm saying. What matters to me is that you think outside the box and don't let your government do your thinking for you.
Yeah, you got to stop being afraid of what people think of what your ideas are. I mean, you got to be your own person. And I've always been, I guess you can say, kind of the black sheep of, like, in high school, even basically all schools since I was a kid. I was always the loner. Nobody really understood me because I thought in such a different way.
I was the same way. I was the same way, man. Grew up being bullied, like ate lunch by myself, never associated with people until I got into high school, and I had like a set of like 2 friends that I'm still friends with to this day. And like, you know, we were close because we were all outcasts, you know, like, and I've since then attracted every person into my existence that's a freaking outcast. I end up with, you know, certain people as my coach when I go to a new place to work. What are the odds of that?
That is astronomical.
It
was, yeah. I mean, no, we don't work together anymore. We still do this show, even remotely if we can, but we found a way.
It's an example of synchronicity, man. Synchronicity, like the world, the universe itself is alive. And there's no doubt in my mind about that. That's why, like, I ascribe to the fact that the universe is alive and that there is infinite versions of what's going on here, is because of all the experiences I've had that prove it to me. Like, I could give you thousands of examples now, logs that I have of like coincidences that are astronomical. Like, you know,
I've had
that
one the other day. I kept seeing 444 multiple times in one day.
I see it so much, dude. I don't even keep track of it anymore. I just like I smile every time I see it now. I look at it as like a nod. Hey, you know, you're on the right path today, or hey, you're on the wrong path today. Depends on what number I'm seeing, where I'm seeing it, like what I'm thinking. Like, you know, have you ever gotten angry about something and then stubbed your toe? Like, that's an instant message. That's what you need to look at that. I look at every single thing that happens in my day-to-day as some type of a message, because, like, you know, maybe that stool wasn't there a minute ago. You know what I mean? Maybe something put it in your place.
Sometimes I wonder, yeah. That
Absolutely,
reality is
man.
so easily manipulated from an outside source looking down inside to us.
I mean, think about just the odds of, hey, I was thinking about this person today, and then crossing their paths in a strange off-the-wall place. That means that you and that person were in the same area at the same time and manages to cross paths. Think how astronomical that really is in the grand scheme of things. And like, that's the type of stuff that I think about. That's what keeps me awake at night.
For me, it's kind of more, not on that level, but for me, it's music. I could be driving down the road, in between songs, I already start hearing the next song before it comes on. I'm like, oh, yeah, this is right. Things like that happen to me all the time.
That's intuition, man. That's intuition. So that precognition or whatever it is. One more person I wanted to mention was a guy named William Tompkins. So, like, this was he actually died in 2017. He was an aerospace engineer. He wrote the book called Selected by Extraterrestrials. It's a pretty famous book. He's famous in this field. Definitely check him out. But he was an aerospace engineer and an author who gained attention for his claims regarding secret government projects and extraterrestrial interactions. He claimed to have worked in the aerospace industry during the 40s and 50s. So he actually worked for a defense contractor. It doesn't say that here, I don't think. Oh, it does. Yep. Thompson's claimed that he worked for various defense contractors, including Douglas Aircraft Company and North American Aviation, where he was allegedly involved in designing and building advanced aircraft and spacecraft. He stated that these projects were part of a secret government programs aimed at developing advanced technologies and establishing contact with extraterrestrial civilizations.
This is in the 40s?
Yeah, the 40s and 50s.
This is before Roswell, then?
100%. Dude, they've been doing this since, I mean, think about it. Roswell is just a famous example because we started to have video. We could record this crap. You know what I mean? Like, this stuff's been going on. There's evidence that goes all the way back, to the dawn of civilization, this kind of stuff. So, according to Tompkins, the U.S. Navy had developed advanced spacecraft capable of interstellar travel, and he claimed to have detailed schematics and documents related to these programs. He also asserted the Navy had established interactions and exchanges with multiple extraterrestrial races. Interesting. So he gained significant attention when he published his book, Selected by Extraterrestrials, My Life in the Top Secret World of UFOs, Think Tanks, and Nordic Secretaries. In the book, he shared his experiences and insider knowledge related to secret space programs and extraterrestrial involvement. He was actually in that documentary I was watching, too, of David Wilcox.
I mean, it makes you wonder, what is it about people that's so special that they're chosen specifically out of the billions of people on Earth for these specific tasks?
That's actually covered in a lot of I think David Wilcock was talking about it. Corey Good talks about it. So they look for people with like intuitive abilities, like people who have like empathic abilities. For like Corey Good's case, like he was an intuitive empath, just like I'm an intuitive empath, just like you were an intuitive empath. And they look for these type of people, and people that come from broken families, people that wouldn't be missed if they were taken away, etc.
Why am I still here?
But see, an important note is that according to him, you could have been taken for a long period of time and nobody would know, because they apparently have technology that can age regress you. This is going into the wild theories, but I believe that this type of stuff exists. I believe that time travel exists. I believe that our understanding. Yeah. So he says that they could age regress you, put you right back where they took you in time, and nobody would know. And you wouldn't have these memories unless you were regressed. You know what I mean? You go into hypnotic regressions.
I want to so badly.
I want to too, but there's something blocking me from doing it, I guess. Maybe
it is access. There's nobody around here to do it. I mean, I'm just in a bad spot to do anything cool. I can't go to those tanks that we talked about. There's nothing around here that does that. I mean, I'm just isolated from all the cool stuff that would be like for you out there where you are. There should be tons of places, but until I get moved back, I just can't do anything like that.
Right. And as far as this dude goes, so according to him, he had advanced, he was an advanced engineer. So he was very intelligent. He was probably working in these companies when they first got started, he just probably fell into it. I think is what he says. Like he kind of fell into the working in these programs and helping out with this stuff. Or maybe they seen something they weren't supposed to see and then get threatened with their lives. I've heard that before too. But that brings me to the question is how many of the UFOs that we're seeing are actually extraterrestrial in origin, or how many of them are actually ours?
It makes you wonder that it's actually more rare to see a craft being driven by extraterrestrial than ones that are being seen by our own government.
Mm-hmm.
Which one? How would you even know?
You wouldn't. I mean, I don't think you would know at all. I think that we're probably dealing with a large mix of the two. I think maybe the one over Las Vegas, the Area 51 stuff, that's probably our stuff.
Yeah. They claim to be 9 to 10 foot tall beings, but that could be even made up. You just don't know. I wasn't there to see it, so I don't know.
So I was going to read a couple spots from the Law of One that talk about this. So the questioner in the Law of One series, this is the Q&A thing. So one of the questioners asked this source, who says, at the time you mentioned that some of the landings were of our peoples. You also mentioned that some were of the Orion group. We talked a little bit about the Orion group, but why did the Orion group land here? What is their purpose? Their purpose is conquest. Unlike those of the Confederation who wait for the calling, the so-called Orion group calls itself to conquest, which means that they are trying to conquer the planet. These are the negative sources, or the negative beings. So what do they do when they land? There's two types of landings. In the first, the entities amongst your people are taken on their craft and programmed for future use. Taken, abducted, programmed for future use.
Sleeper agents, kind of like.
Right. There are 2 or 3 levels of program. First, the level will be discovered by those who do research. Second, a triggering program. Third, a second and most deep triggering program, crystallizing the entity, thereby rendering it lifeless and useful as a kind of beacon. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
The third is the form of landing beneath the Earth's crust, which is entered from the water. That's why they're saying there's a lot of craft that enter from the water. Like, one is said to be conveniently by the North Pole. One is said to be by the Southern Pole. Interesting. Because, all the UFO activity.
Like USOs? Is that what they call those? USO? Unidentified submerged object? I forget the actual name. But
dude, there's so many eyewitness testimonies that claim to see, like, the naval officers claiming to see UFOs coming up out of the water, dude. Like, it's out of control.
What makes you wonder, if space is water, what makes you say they couldn't get into our oceans?
Mm-hmm.
Or even then, if they're airtight to go into a vacuum, they can go into the ocean.
I mean, in that documentary I was watching, they said that the submarines and the people who pilot them are actually perfect to go into space because it's like the similar type of environment. And according to them, they actually had this technology that they could strap to the subs, and the subs went right out into space because they're already airtight. They're already
Makes sense.
I don't know.
I mean, that makes sense to me. You just got to go in between the water, our atmosphere, back into space again.
So back to the part where the questioner was like, there's a portion of the material read yesterday in which it says that there is a certain amount of landing taking place, and some of these landings are by your peoples. What do you mean by the landings are of your peoples? Your peoples have, at this space-time present, the technological achievement, if you would call it that, of being able to create and fly the shape of craft known to you as unidentified flying objects. Unfortunately for the social memory complex vibratory rates of your peoples, these devices are not intended for the service of mankind, but for potential destructive use. This further meddles the vibratory nexus of your social memory complex, causing a situation where basically neither service to self or service to others, gets anything.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's interesting.
I mean, I've heard stories of people recount being abducted by aliens, and like when they're using that regression stuff, they actually do see humans around them as well, like military or whatever, and they're working together. And that's like part of the agreement. They exchange us for their technology.
Yep, that's what it's what they actually suggest in that documentary too. Is that we're human beings are literally being trafficked for that purpose, for exchanging technology, because we have a certain type of our consciousness or whatever is valued or something like that.
Yeah, I've heard that too. Like we have built into us some sort of what was that movie I watched where the aliens came down and they're like, what do you want with us? And they're like, we're looking for him. And they put in their mind an image of Jesus. They said, you guys give off the same energy that he had or something like that. Makes you wonder.
Yeah, that dude was again, the Law of One talks about Jesus again as if he was a real person. Like, I believe he was a real person.
Mm-hmm.
Like, most people think that if you believe in this kind of subject, you can't believe in God or you can't believe in religion. It's just, to me, it's silly. I don't believe in religion, but I believe in a lot of what the religious people say. It's like, I believe in Jesus. I
think it all can coexist. Buddhism, Christianity, Hindu, it can all coexist together.
I think that we're dealing with philosophies that come from different points in the galaxies, man, or different points in our galaxy. Easily. I mean, think about it. What if we were visited from all different places? That would explain why we have all different types of, religious philosophies, not just the idea that this came out of the thinking minds of men, but I mean, some of it definitely did. I'm sure some of it is ridiculous and was obviously, people trying to prey on people who are afraid of death. But
most people are, but what they're afraid of is what happens afterward, because they don't know what's coming. Not death itself, or they're afraid of not existing anymore.
ultimately, yeah, that's a lot of people. That's why they end up, finding God later in life and stuff like that. Because as you get closer to death, you get afraid. I mean, that's perfectly acceptable. I don't want anybody to not believe in what they believe. I just want to say you don't have to keep your mind closed. You can believe in God, have experiences with the divine, and still believe in whatever the hell you want.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you believe that when you get close to death, that you, without a doubt, know it, or feel it, or even sense it coming?
I think if your mind is open and you're intuitive, yes, I think you'd know. There's a lot of people who are, I would say, more advanced spiritually that would absolutely know when they're going to die. So I think maybe not everybody is going to experience this. I think that some people are just, obviously, you can die in an accident right now. You could be hit by a meteor. That's why I always tell my family, like, you have no idea what's going to happen tomorrow. Like, we literally could be destroyed by a meteor tomorrow.
Yeah,
like,
it could be before you even finish this last sentence.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it didn't happen, but
It didn't happen, but hey, dude, at any point in time, your life could end. The universe is chaotic. Like anything could be happening, anything could be planned. You have no idea when you're gonna die. So the point is to live and love as though you could die at any moment. Like I've experienced people who have died in my life, so I know that like time is fleeting. Like you have no idea when the last time you're gonna be able to talk to somebody is.
Yeah, unfortunately. I've been there.
Mm-hmm. I know, my friend. I've been there as well, suffering.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm kind of lucky though. Even since my mom passed away, I dream about her all the time. I think it was even the night before last. We were at a get together. We're all sitting around eating food and just loving it up. She was there.
Mm-hmm. That's beautiful, man. It's contact in your dreams.
Well, we say dreams or the astral plane is the medium,
right?
Where both sides can come together and meet together, because one can't go truly into the other, but there's that median point where you can interact using the astral body.
I've been having like insane level dreams that are different from me. That's why I know something's interesting is coming, because like usually I don't have dreams that defy physics, and lately I've been having nothing but nonstop dreams that defy physics in my brain, and it should trigger me to know that I'm in a dream, but it's not happening.
It doesn't always happen. Like, what kind of example do you have?
Like, superhuman abilities. Like, have you ever seen the show My Hero Academia?
Mm-hmm.
So I apparently had this crazy lightning ability in that, and like, I don't know how to explain. Dude, I've never been able to shoot lightning bolts out of my hands. Like, what kind of insanity is this? And like, I was trying to stop somebody from like hurting my child or whatever, and all of a sudden I was able to unlock this lightning ability. Like, but we talked about it as though it was from that show, like the quirks. Oh, it's my quirk. It's freaking weird, dude. And in that dream,
that's all a quirk is some ability you can just unlock.
Yeah, it was interesting, man. In that dream, it was some type of a organization that we were trying to escape from, that was trying to keep us imprisoned. I don't know, it was weird. And then there was another one where they had this extraterrestrial being trapped, and it eventually, they had it put to sleep, because if they kept it asleep, it couldn't transform. When it was like a werewolf type thing, where the moon came out, apparently would transform, and it eventually escaped. And like, I don't know, like right before I woke up, like it found me, and I was gonna have to fight it by using the superhuman water. It was really weird, dude. But
it's awesome though. Shoot. As weird as it sounds, it's awesome to have those experiences.
It's weird. It's not like me to have these dreams. So like I've gotten it down to a pretty good science. Like if I drink water at a certain time, like it triggers these type of lucid dreams. But
that's me every night. I'm always being tested on how strong I am in my dreams. I'll arm wrestle somebody, see how strong they are. Just tons of things like that.
Yes, sir. All right, it's about time.
It is. Been an hour already. All right, we've been a great show. Great content.
Yes, sir. Heck yeah, man. It's fun to talk about.
Oh, yeah. I love it. All right, so we'll come back on next time. Same time of the week, sometime at night. Tuesday, 10 p.m. for those who don't know. All right, well, I'll catch you later, man.
Have a good one. Appreciate you all.
Later. All right, we're going to wrap up here. It has been a quick hour. I want to thank you all for watching. If you haven't watched live, which is fine, hope you can watch us later at your own time. Talked about some great stuff tonight. I'm going to come back again next Tuesday. Same time, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Pacific Time. If you're in the mountains and all that, you'll figure it out. All right, so we'll go ahead and end it with a nice little thunderclap. Perfect. All right, catch you guys later. I'll put out an event later to tell you what the next topic will be, what we're going to talk about next week. And until then, you guys have a great